Imagine a fundamental principle capable of directing your entire existence. A spiritual idea promising to reveal the path toward genuine spiritual independence. Today, we will investigate the law of Thelema, a set of beliefs established by Aleister Crowley that has shaped the thinking of occultists, artists, and those seeking truth for over a century. Prepare yourself for an exploration that might shift your understanding of reality. To grasp the law of Thelema, it's crucial to understand Aleister Crowley, a highly debated yet significantly influential figure in contemporary occultism. While a dedicated video about him will follow, for now, the key point is that in 1904, during a period in Egypt, Crowley asserted he received a revelation from an entity identified as Aiwass. This communication was documented in the Book of the Law, also known as Liber vel Legis, which has become a profoundly mysterious and vital text within modern esoteric thought. The narrative begins in Cairo, where Crowley and his wife, Rose Edith Kelly, were engaged in mystical experiments. Unexpectedly, Rose entered a trance-like state and began to declare that a being was awaiting them, specifically stating that the god Horus wished to communicate. Initially skeptical, Crowley tested his wife to confirm the genuineness of her pronouncements. To his surprise, Rose accurately described details of Horus's iconography, information she couldn't have known without extensive prior study. On April 8, 1904, Crowley sat in a room in Cairo and, for 3 successive days, received dictation from an enigmatic voice that identified itself as Aiwass, a messenger of the gods. The content of these revelations would form the 3 chapters of Liber vel Legis, a text that Crowley himself would spend years trying to fully comprehend. The Book of the Law introduced groundbreaking ideas to Western spirituality, declaring that humanity was entering a new era, the Aeon of Horus. Within this new cycle, authentic intention and individual liberty would become the foundational elements of spiritual growth. The law of Thelema originated from this revelation, signifying a departure from established religious doctrines and encouraging the pursuit of self-understanding and personal fulfillment. Crowley's revelation was not without its critics. While some considered him a prophet of a new age, others accused him of deceit and mental instability. Nevertheless, Thelema spread through various esoteric orders and influenced occultists, writers, and philosophers throughout the 20th century. Its impact crossed geographical boundaries and became a cornerstone of modern occultism. At the heart of the law of Thelema lies the puzzling and potent statement, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." These words, dictated by Aiwass to Aleister Crowley, became the fundamental principle of Thelemic philosophy. However, the true meaning of this statement is frequently misunderstood. To many, this phrase might appear to be an endorsement of unrestrained pleasure-seeking or chaos, but its correct interpretation goes much deeper. Within the context of Thelema, do what thou wilt does not mean acting on immediate impulses or selfish desires. Instead, it refers to the concept of one's true will. This is not a temporary fancy, but the essential purpose of each individual, their fundamental reason for existing within the universe. Thelema teaches that every human being possesses a unique purpose, and fulfilling this purpose is the key to both individual freedom and universal harmony. To uncover one's true will, the seeker must engage in deep self-exploration, freeing themselves from external pressures and societal illusions. Practices such as meditation, magical rituals, and profound occult study are tools utilized by Thelemites in this quest. When an individual discovers their true will and acts in accordance with it, there is no need for imposed moral rules or religious doctrines. Their very essence will naturally guide their actions in perfect alignment with the cosmos. Crowley frequently drew a parallel between this concept and the movement of celestial bodies in their orbits. Each planet follows its designated path without interfering with the trajectories of others. Similarly, when each individual pursues their true will, conflicts cease because everyone occupies their rightful place within the natural order of things. The apparent disorder of the universe conceals a profound harmony, and Thelema proposes that human existence should mirror this cosmic arrangement. This idea also entails a significant responsibility. Following one's true will is not a license for irresponsible self-indulgence, but rather a call for introspection and self-discipline. True will cannot be determined by superficial desires. It can only be discovered through a genuine commitment to self-knowledge. Thus, do what thou wilt is, in essence, an invitation to live with authenticity and purpose, unburdened by feelings of guilt or suppression. Since its initial formulation, this fundamental principle has been subject to misinterpretations and criticism. However, if each person's true will is followed without hesitation or doubt, humanity may potentially enter a new era of harmony and progress. It is the responsibility of each individual to heed this call and decide whether they're prepared to follow the path of their own truth. However, it is asserted that this is the only genuine path. All other pursuits are considered a waste of one's time. The second fundamental principle of the law of Thelema, love is the law, love under will, is frequently cited alongside the phrase, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. However, its meaning extends far beyond a simple glorification of romantic affection or interpersonal fondness. Within the Thelemic perspective, love is viewed as a cosmic force, the energy that permeates and connects all of existence. However, it must be understood and directed in accordance with one's true will. For Aleister Crowley, love was not merely a fleeting emotion or sentiment, but a universal principle. In his writings, he argued that true love occurs when two forces interact harmoniously, without conflict or external constraints. In this way, authentic love arises when each individual is aligned with their own true will and allows others to pursue theirs without coercion or imposed limitations. The expression love under will signifies that love should not be impulsive, chaotic, or without direction. Rather, it should be a conscious love guided by understanding and each person's unique purpose. This implies that human relationships, whether romantic, social, or spiritual, should be founded on freedom and mutual respect, without any party attempting to dominate or subjugate the other. When someone acts in accordance with their true will, their love also manifests in a purer and more genuine way. In the esoteric context, love is the force that unites opposing elements and maintains the equilibrium of the universe. Crowley often associated this concept with the figure of Nut, the cosmic goddess in Liber Legis, who represents infinity and divine love. Nut proclaims that her followers should lose themselves in her love and attain wholeness by uniting with the cosmos. This transcendent love is not attachment, but rather a state of fusion with the entirety of existence, a profound spiritual union. Thus, love is the law. Love under will teaches that all our interactions and relationships should be guided by an understanding of our own nature and the nature of those around us. True love does not impose itself or restrict. On the contrary, it liberates and strengthens. When an individual lives in accordance with their true will, they love naturally, without fear and without unnecessary limitations. This concept also reflects an ethical vision within Thelemic philosophy. For Thelemites, morality is not dictated by external rules, but arises from an understanding of each person's true will. In this way, loving under will means acting responsibly, allowing love to flow freely, but always in accordance with universal harmony. Therefore, Thelema instructs us that genuine love cannot be separated from one's will. It is the purest expression of spiritual liberation and the interconnectedness of all things. When an individual discovers their true will and acts in accordance with it, love naturally emanates from this realization. Thus, love is not merely an emotion, but the very force that propels the evolution of humanity and the universe. Liber Aeon of Legis, or the Book of the Law, is structured into 3 chapters, each purportedly dictated by a distinct entity representing fundamental principles of Thelemic thought. Each chapter unveils different facets of the nature of existence, the cosmos, and the relationship between human beings and their true will. The first chapter is attributed to Nut, the goddess of infinity and the starry sky. Nut embodies the totality of existence and the cosmic love that binds all things together. Her words celebrate freedom, the expansion of consciousness, and the ecstasy of union with the universe. Nut proclaims, "Every man and every woman is a star," emphasizing the uniqueness and essential role of each individual within the grand cosmic design. This chapter invites the dissolution of the ego into something greater, a call to transcendence and the discovery of the inherent divine nature within each person. The second chapter is dictated by Hadit, the individual principle of consciousness and experience. While Nut represents infinite vastness, Hadit symbolizes the central point, movement, and the fiery essence of existence. Hadit declares, "I am the flame that burns in every human heart," underscoring the inner journey and the quest for true will. Hadit teaches that spiritual fulfillment lies not in submission to dogmas or external rules, but in the direct and individual experience of truth. This chapter speaks of dynamism, self-expression, and the necessity of living fully without fear or repression. The third and final chapter is attributed to Horus, the warrior manifestation of the god Horus. Unlike the preceding chapters, this one possesses a more intense and combative tone as it announces the arrival of the Aeon of Horus, a new era of spiritual freedom and power. Horus represents strength, courage, and the overcoming of outdated paradigms. The chapter contains challenging passages often interpreted as metaphors for the dismantling of oppressive systems and the reconstruction of humanity on more authentic foundations. Here, the individual is called to take responsibility for their own destiny and to act according to their true will without hesitation. Each of the 3 chapters of Liber, Aeon of Legis plays a vital role within the law of Thelema. Nut teaches cosmic love and union. Hadit reveals the inner spark and the pursuit of individual truth, and Horus provides the necessary strength to manifest this truth in the world. Together, they form the foundation of Thelemic philosophy, guiding those who seek spiritual awakening and the full realization of their existence. The philosophy of Thelema is not merely a collection of esoteric ideas. It is a dynamic system that can be practically applied in daily life for those who wish to live according to its principles. Understanding and following one's own true will is essential. But how can this philosophy be translated into concrete actions? The initial step in applying Thelema is self-knowledge. The search for true will requires deep introspection, which can be facilitated by practices such as meditation, reflective writing, and self-analysis. Methods like the magical diary, encouraged by Aleister Crowley, help practitioners record their experiences and identify patterns that bring them closer to their true essence. Beyond self-knowledge, study is a fundamental tool for those who want to live according to Thelema. Delving into texts such as Liber, Aeon of Legis, Crowley's other works, and the writings of fellow occultists provides the theoretical framework necessary to understand the philosophy's core principles. Initiatory orders, such as the Ordo Templi Orientis, Occult, and the A Therefore, offer structured guidance and established methods for individuals seeking a more formal path within Thelema. Another way to integrate Thelema into practical existence is through magical rituals and spiritual practices. The lesser ritual of the pentagram, for example, is a daily exercise that aids in purification and the energetic structuring of the practitioner. Practices such as the invocation of the Holy Guardian Angel, inspired by Liber Samek, assist in connecting with one's inner divinity and aligning with true will. Living Thelema also entails personal responsibility and conscious action in the world. Thelema teaches that each individual is accountable for their choices and that every action carries consequences. This implies acting with integrity, respecting the freedom of others, while simultaneously living in accordance with one's own will. Autonomy and self-discipline are fundamental qualities for a Thelemite, as without them, freedom risks becoming merely an empty aspiration. Another practical aspect of applying Thelema is the pursuit of excellence in all facets of life. True will is not confined to the spiritual realm. It permeates all aspects of existence, including one's profession, interpersonal relationships, and personal development. A Thelemic consistently strives to express their essence in an authentic and complete manner, whether in art, science, work, or any other field of endeavor. Finally, Thelema proposes a dynamic worldview in which each individual must be in constant evolution. Following true will is an ongoing process that demands the courage to relinquish limiting beliefs and embrace new possibilities. The practice of Thelema is not static. It adapts to the growth and transformations of the practitioner, allowing for an ever-deepening and more meaningful spiritual journey. By applying Thelema to daily life, the individual transcends the role of a mere follower of a philosophy. They become the very creator of their reality, guided by the illumination of true will and the liberation that this discovery provides. One of the primary misconceptions about Thelema is the belief that its philosophy promotes unrestrained hedonism. For those unfamiliar with Crowley's teachings, the Thelemic maxim might seem to justify any action based on immediate desire. However, true will is not about fleeting impulses but a profound and spiritual purpose. The freedom advocated by Thelema is not libertinism, but the disciplined pursuit of fulfilling one's destiny in harmony with the universe. Another contentious point is the figure of Aleister Crowley, infamously dubbed the wickedest man in the world by sensationalist tabloids. Crowley cultivated a transgressive image that served both to attract followers and to provoke repulsion. His writings often adopted a provocative and challenging tone, which contributed to the misinterpretation of his work. Although he explored topics considered taboo in his era, his aim was to break free from moral hypocrisy and encourage a new approach to spirituality and individual freedom. Thelema has also been erroneously associated with Satanism, particularly due to the use of esoteric symbols and the rejection of traditional religious dogmas. However, Thelema is neither a satanic doctrine nor does it advocate demonic worship. Its focus lies on the development of the human being through knowledge, will, and conscious love, without submission to any external entity. The confusion between Thelema and other esoteric currents often stems from a lack of thorough study and preconceived notions towards alternative spiritual systems. Additionally, there is a common misunderstanding regarding the relationship between Thelema and the concept of morality. Many argue that Thelema disregards ethical principles because it rejects rules imposed by external authorities. However, Thelemic philosophy does not disregard ethics. Rather, it proposes an ethics grounded in self-knowledge and responsibility. Each individual must come to understand their true will and act in accordance with it, while simultaneously respecting the freedom of others. Instead of adhering to a rigid moral code, Thelema suggests a conscious and balanced approach to life. Over the years, these controversies and misunderstandings have been fueled both by misinformation and by the distorted application of Thelemic philosophy by certain groups or individuals. Like any profound system of thought, Thelema necessitates dedicated study and practice to be genuinely comprehended. Its essence lies not in aimless rebellion, but in the pursuit of personal enlightenment and the complete realization of spiritual freedom. By demystifying these inaccurate interpretations, it becomes possible to perceive Thelema as a potent and transformative philosophy. The freedom it advocates is not a justification for irresponsibility, but a call for each person to discover and follow their unique path within the universe, in harmony with their true will. Now that you have gained insight into the law of Thelema, what will you do with this knowledge? Your true will is already beckoning. The next step is yours to take. If you found this exploration valuable, please like, comment, and share it so that more individuals can discover this path of freedom and self-knowledge. Thank you for your attention.